Good morning, Omnia sales team. This is Eric Penrod, and I am a vice president with Datum Tech Inc., based out of Austin. I just want to quickly explain our company and some of the services that might be applicable to some of your public-facing clients when you're out in the field. And our hope is that if you have questions or something jogs your memory that maybe someone needs some of these services, you can either A, refer to this short video, or B, you can contact myself at epenrod at datumxy.com. So it's EPENROD at datum, DATUM, or Derek Lumberg at DLUNDERG at DATUMXY.com. So that's Derek and Eric. And we kind of we divide the public sector kind of in two, and we kind of just conquer whatever comes in front of us. So let me tell you a little bit about Datum, and then we'll get into the four areas in which I think can make a real impact as you're out on the field. Uh, Datum Tech is a full-scale cutting advertisement and micro targeting data company in Austin, Texas. They've been around for about 3 years now, and they really got their start with political and creating audiences for political campaigns. They have branched out into a multitude of different verticals now, with public education, our public-facing education, as one of the primary focuses that we deal with. Just as a kind of a background piece, Datum ingest all cell phone and smartphone and smartwatches and tablet information in the United States on a monthly basis. So when we started, it was, we would have terabytes of information coming in. We now have petabytes of information coming in. As we get that information, we sort it into different categories and build what's called a data stack. That data stack is a multi-layered stack with various pieces of information on it. As it goes through, depending on the client, we can manipulate the information to really have an output that meets the client's needs. So how does that relate to public education? Well, let's start with dropout prevention. So dropout prevention, we know right now, coming off the pandemic, there's a 11% drop in enrollment across the nation. We have over 1 million students missing throughout the educational classrooms in the U.S. Well, if you equate that to dollars, you're talking millions and millions and millions upon millions of dollars. So that's not the reason we're here, but it's also a reason that superintendents lose sleep at night because they know revenue is based off enrollment. So dropout prevention. What we do is we are given the last known physical address that works for a student. So, say Johnny didn't come back from the pandemic. Well, we would actually upload just the physical address, no other identifiable information. From there, we do some modeling that looks at frequency and location data. Okay, so those are the two things that kind of separate us from everybody else, is that we're looking at 2.5 years worth of information on how often and where that specific set of unique ID was. Once we've identified where it is and the frequency it is, we can give the district, yes, they're still there at that address. No, they're not at that address, but they moved across town and they've been there for the last 22 days at a very high rate in terms of frequency. Or they moved out of the state, and it's going to be a different conversation at that point. We have several case studies on this. They're on our webpage, datumxy.com. That's datumxy.com. This is a service that a lot of people enjoy. We can actually also tag it with a a canvassing company that we work with in order to really combat truancy in areas that still have high number of students missing. We just started a campaign in Texas, and we just started a campaign in up in the Carolinas. And so it's a great campaign. It works really well. You're not going to find another algorithm that does what we do. We are a sole proprietary resource for that. The second thing with truancy is, say you have a kid that's missing 10, 15, 20 days and they just kind of vanish off the face of the earth. Again, we get the last known physical address, we can go out and we can locate the kid. A lot of districts see this as an opportunity to stay on top of truancy because it gives them real-time data on a day-to-day basis of where this kid is located. Kind of moving over to human resources. Human resources is probably where we get the vast majority of our traction when working with school districts. We have an uncanny ability to find not only teachers, bus drivers, child nutrition workers, substitutes, instructional aides, nurses, because we know the human behavior behind each one of those. And so what we do is we set up specific geofences around areas in which these subcategories frequent the most. And then we're sending them messages that hyperlink directly back to your web page. And again, multiple case studies. It's a viable product. No one else does it, and it's kind of unique. We tell the stories of just give transportation because that's one that's always on someone's mind. Well, we're going to look at truck stops. We're going to look at diners. We're going to look at any type of industrial park that uses a lot of CDL drivers. But we're also looking at and pulling the veterans voter file. So we'll overlay the veterans voter file in order to really try to hone in on individuals that might want to drive a bus. Even though someone's driving an 18-wheeler, if they're not happy with being on the road and they're dissatisfied with being on the road, they're at the end of their career, this is maybe something that they would do. So we've had great success on finding all types of employees, from teachers to all the ones that I mentioned earlier. Kindergarten and pre-K roundup, our enrollment and engagement. Again, this is another one where we have a strong history of identifying where these students are at before they even enter your school. We start kind of with that live birth data, and we work backwards from there. And so what we do is we look at pediatric centers. We're looking at parks. We're looking at the stores during the day because that's whenever kids typically join their parents if they're eligible. We're looking at restaurants that cater to students. So we have a litany of areas in which we look. And then, of course, naturally, we rely on the district to kind of supplement that information. And the last one is community outreach. So as we're trying to find all of these, different students that would increase your overall population, we're also trying to push out some real positive stories. And we can do that segmented, where we're looking at stories, pushing them out to areas that may be maybe not as happy with the school district, but pushing out extremely positive stories to try to change the outlook of things. Or we can push them out to the whole community, your choice. As I mentioned earlier, Datum is unlike any other website or web interactive data management, data advertising tool that you'll ever see. We have some of the sharpest minds. The cost is extremely palatable for school districts. We've worked with budgets as small as $1,000, and we've worked with schools with a budget of over $1 million. And so, we treat both of them the same. We treat both of them the exact same. So regardless of the size of your school, regardless of what your budget looks like for a school district, we're going to help you find dropouts, truancy issues. We're really going to support your recruiting efforts. We're going to go out and find your pre-K students to get them enrolled, or their kindergarten students to get them enrolled, and we're able to tell great stories about your school district. So if you have any questions, feel free, reach out. Eric Penrod and Derek Lumberg. Both of those can be found on the bottom left of this video. And again, if you have any questions, I would love to talk to you and see if we have a solution that meets your needs. Thank you.